Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Barry here with the Scryguystv, and today we have murders at Karlov Manor, early leaks, or spoilers. Okay, listen, I love Ravnica. It's probably one of my top 5 sets. It's one of the sets I kind of started in, but we don't have to come back to it every couple years. You know, you guys, man, Wizards, you guys gave us this whole plane chase deck with all these other planes, and I would like to visit some of them at some point in time. But let's go ahead and start. We have Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, 4 in Rakdos colors, legendary creature demon, flying trample at the beginning of your end step. Target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards, and it is a 6/6 flying trample, if I didn't already say that. They really just don't want to give us a good Rakdos card. The last Rakdos card I believe that was really good, at least to me, in my eyes, was probably Lord of Riots, 2 black, 2 red, legendary creature demon. You can't cast Rakdos unless an opponent lost life this turn. Flying trample, creature spells you cast cost 1 colorless less to cast for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. This is just going to be the most powerful version of Rakdos that we have up to date. The other one did random board wipe, and I think the other one also, I think the first one did something like akin to that. I really wish they would just give us a good Rakdos. Like, if this would be really cool is like if it said at the beginning of each end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, 2 non-token permanents. If they don't, draw 2 cards. I think that would have made this Rakdos exponentially better. But for 6 mana to do something akin to Braids Arisen, which is a 3 mana, sacrifice a permanent, and each opponent may sacrifice something. If they don't, they lose life, and you get to draw cards. You're gonna want to play that. It's 3 mana less, and it guarantees, like, not guarantees, but you'll at least draw 1 to 2 cards per end step. I think that's just gonna be infinitely the better commander to play. You do lose access to red, but 6 mana for this kind of effect is kind of if this had maybe haste, so you can at least swing with it, that'd be really cool, but it doesn't. So but if I'm wrong, let me know, guys. Let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments that I'm a big old dummy. Let's look at a new card from Murders at Karlov Manor. At least I think it's new, I believe. Alquist Proft Master Sleuth. I know Sleuth. 1 in Azorius, legendary creature, human detective, vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, it investigates, so you create a clue, which is going to be a huge thing for at least this set, which is nice. But it also has X, white, blue, tap, sacrifice a clue, you draw X cards and gain X life. So Sphinx Revelation on the stick, 3/3 Azorius control. I'm not gonna be looking forward to seeing this at the table because Azorius is all just control decks and then probably stacks. But I think it's really cool. It has vigilance. It at least creates the clue for you to sack later on. You can Sphinx Revelation at instant speed again. Well, not again. You could always do it with Sphinx Revelation. It is a pretty heavy mana cost, but it's nice to have any type of card draw effect on a commander. In this one, you have the potential of possibly drawing your whole deck out if you have like Rings of Brythard, Basalt Monolith out, or the what's it called, the artifact that gives you a colorless mana, extra colorless, so you can do Basalt Monolith with that. I think that's pretty good, man. This is really cool. It's going to be Azorius control, obviously. It's not going to be fun to play against, but especially anything that gives your opponent's card draw in the command zone is kind of like, because they can always reveal so much faster. This one does take quite a bit of setup, but I think it's a pretty sweet Azorius commander overall, and the dude is handsome, not going to lie. Kind of looks like the paladin from the D&D movie for... Oh, all right. Next we got, there he is right there on the screen. We have Aurelia, the Law Above, 3 and Boros, legendary creature, angel, flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life. So that's really cool. The second ability, the second triggered ability is pretty cool. It's like a lightning helix plus, which we'll go ahead and talk about later because it, you know, somewhere here. But it's also you could possibly just do like Boros weenies with this, drawing cards, attacking with creatures, possibly tokens, things that don't matter. You know, one of the things that Boros always has trouble with is one ramp, and another thing is sort of card draw. Maybe not so much now because of all the impulse draw cards that we do have, but still, it's always kind of like trouble because obviously you're gonna also run out of gas with this. You could possibly do one of those. You could do instant sorceries where they create you tokens, and then those swing out with them. You can go ahead and draw cards. It itself can draw, so maybe you have 2 creatures on the board, and then you hit this one down at 5 or 4, attack with all 3 creatures, you draw a card. So it's nice for Boros to have something to draw cards and then also deal damage. With this, if you build this one with the second ability in mind, you can go Dictate of the Twin Gods. You can go anything that's going to deal damage, double or triple, because we have triple now. At some point we'll have quadruple. But you know, I think this is actually a pretty fun and interesting commander to build around, just because you can go a couple routes with it. So I would love to see everyone's build on this. I am terrible at building Boros decks, so definitely I will try when the Karlov Manor comes a little bit closer and we get to see a little bit more of the newer cards. I'm gonna try to build this deck. I don't know which route I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna go the damage, but then even with the damage, you're still gonna need 5 creatures. So it's cool because you can kind of just mainly focus on the 3 creatures and drawing cards and all that stuff. But it's nice that it bleeds into the second triggered ability. So really cool Aurelia. Finally, it's it's not doing double damage and half the. Sometimes Aurelia is kind of scary when it's on the board, right, guys? Let's see. What do we have next? Oh yeah. So obviously, Investigate is gonna be super important with this, but this is a really cool one. Wojek Investigator, 2 and a white creature angel detective, flying vigilance. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate once for each opponent who has more cards in your hand. So that's really cool. Possibly if you're playing any kind of white always needs more card draw, and so this is possibly going to give you 1 to 2 extra clues at the beginning of your upkeep, which is really sweet. And then if you're building a clue deck or any type of like token deck, maybe foods, this can trigger like your academy manufacturers and all that stuff. There's a lot of ways that this could be helpful, but for the main focus, it's gonna be really helpful for just getting more cards in your hand. So it's a really cool card. And I think I accidentally did this out of order because oh no, I didn't. Maybe I have it last. We have Gleaming Gear Drake. Mainly I put this card in here just to showcase one of the new showcase cards, and I'm not typically a huge fan of the showcase art and the frames, but I do actually really like this one just because I like detective movies and all that stuff, and this being like a file with the a folder with the file and all that stuff. I just wanted to showcase the showcase. And I think it's really cool. So probably one of my favorite showcase arts up to date. Oh, and then we have the Clue Edition, which I don't know how that one is going to work. Is it only going to be in Commander deck or Collector boosters? I don't know. But we have Senator Peacock, 3 and 2 blue, legendary creature, human advisor. Artifacts you control are clues in addition to the other types they have, and they have the clue ability. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can be blocked this turn. This is kind of nuts. So with this one, you can kind of go Cheerios. You could also politic, like, hey, I'll let your 10/10 infect creature go unblocked. This is kind of like, I don't know if I would want this in the command zone, because if you do Cheerios, you drop all your Cheerios down and then you sack them. I guess you can kind of get into a loop with that, so that's really cool. I think there's a pretty interesting commander build to have. I do much like it more in the 99 of like Joyra. Is it Joyra, or like the historic Joyra, the one that draws you cards on your Cheerios? I like it way better at that. But also just giving the ability to give a creature unblockable is going to be really cool. So I definitely want to see how people build this on the command zone. They're probably going to do degenerate blue things with it, especially with the Cheerio effect on it and stuff like that. Maybe you could put it in the Urza deck as well too. She kind of slides in a lot in the 99 as a commander. It could be also really good. It does kind of bog itself down because it doesn't have any type of effect after that. But yeah, definitely a strong 99 card. Super interesting. I mean, I probably will try to build it as a commander because I am one of those people that kind of can't keep a commander deck together. I constantly break them down and build them back up, and then you guys get it. I hope you guys understand my pain. And then what do we have next? Oh, and then Lightning Helix is back in standard. So I don't know how this is going to fare for the standard format because I don't play it. But it was a favorite when I did play it. When I did play it in Gate Crash and all that stuff. And then I believe, yep. And then we have new basic land arts, which I think is kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of them though. I know Quest is. He does like the cityscape look of it all, but kind of reminds me of New Capenna. New Capenna kind of took me out because I like to believe Magic is a fantasy-based game, and I understand that yes, there's angels and demons in New Capenna, but like it kind of took me out just because of all the cars and all that stuff. I think the vehicles from Kaladesh were fine because they were just so abstract looking, and we're like, how are you gonna get in that, right? But yeah, like I didn't do all of the cards in here. Definitely tell me what you guys think of the rest of the spoilers that have come out. Tell me, are you guys excited to go back to Ravnica and Karlov Manor, or are you guys just are you guys just excited about Shocklands going to be possibly dirt cheap when we come back to Ravnica? I don't know, guys, but thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then thank you also for the growth for the channel. I believe at the time of recording, we're at 160 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys. We appreciate it. But yeah, hope you guys have a good day.